Hey guys, this is Shaiko and welcome to my third video about relations. In today's episode I would like to talk about long distance relationships. Do they actually work? The answer is yes, thanks for watching me, see ya! Okay, whoa, slow down, cowboy. So wait, does it mean all of my friends lied to me? Like my whole life is a lie? Cause pretty much everyone says they never work. Okay, kid, let me tell you a tale that might explain a bit. Once upon a time, long ago, there was a prince. Handsome, witty, intelligent, well born, and rich. He lived in a harbor city with his mom, the queen, in a modest palace. One day, on a gathering with fellow other nobles, he met a princess. After countless ineffectual tries, he finally has found the way to her heart. Happily, they consumed their love and went on with the heartwarming story, spent every minute together. The prince took the princess on voyages with his white steed. It actually was a white Renault Clio. Shared passions and activities. One day, after the noble trials, both the princess and the prince had to leave the harbor city to move to a Prussian metropole to attend greater education. And so they did. They did find a little palace there. Like, damn, I hated my landlord there. And continued their sweet love for almost a year. But then the princess had to come back to the harbor city and continue her studies there. The prince was devastated, yet he knew they are going to make it. They sent each other postal pigeons every day. They kept each other up to date. And when finally the day came, they would run as quick as possible to the other one to spend the sweet moments together. They proceeded to do everything together. They attempted procreation and sometimes even several times a day, yet the devil, also known as condoms and pills, cursed them and left them without progeny. And so they have lived happily forever after. I mean, not exactly, but like, let's not ruin the great story. Okay, fine, let's just say the prince had other duties and couldn't risk the life of the princess then. The prince moved further away to the heart of Europe. He was meant to only spend there the time in a delegation, achieve his temporary goals, close alliances, and come back. Yet he found love again. A princess from very faraway lands will attempt on winning his affection. Eventually, even though the prince knew this is madness, he agreed and they seemed to be happy. He was sure he wants to commit and build a strong alliance with the foreign kingdom. Yet, shortly before him having to leave, the happy couple would start arguing about everything, even the tiniest details. Both of them were angry at each other for they didn't really know for what back then. And then the prince would have to leave for longer to faraway lands, but he promised to come back as soon as possible and send mail every day. And so he did. He sent countless messages, yet the princess seemed distant. She wouldn't tell him she desires him. She wouldn't act interested. She would prefer to go to gatherings rather than exchange thoughts with him. The prince was furious, and the hate would accumulate. For revenge, the prince wouldn't respond to mail, or try to make the princess jealous, or start arguing with her to let go the emotions. The princess would collect even more negative memories with the prince and associate him with troubles. Eventually, the princess told him why she'd be so distant. It were his behaviors from back when they were in the same city that bothered her. Yet she never voiced them before, and the prince never knew there was a problem. The prince understood and tried to change, but there was little he could do due to the distance and the inability to come back, as a deadly plague would ruin the old continent. The prince begged the princess to give it a chance and try to care, yet she remained indifferent to his requests. Eventually, the princess would fade and leave the prince behind. They didn't live happily forever after, and the prince would start making YouTube videos. Now it is quite crucial whether you've been together before the long distance thing or you just started with it. Like, this is your beginning. Um, Not gonna lie, it's gonna be way easier if you already have had some memories together and like some solid fundamentals to build the relationship. But like, obviously it's not necessary, it just makes the whole thing way easier. The moral of the story, as trivial as it might sound, is like communication is key. And I do realize you probably have heard this pretty much everywhere, like every single relationship coach would tell you this. But literally, if they communicated better, if the prince and the princess had solved the issues before the prince would go, heck, they would probably be still together. If you basically include the person in your daily life and you give them the feeling that they're important, that they literally mean the world to you, that there is always place for them in your life and in your schedule, that basically like creates a bond or like strengthens the existing bond. If you have any struggles, any problems about the other person, like anything that bothers you, voice your concerns, like let them know so they can actually do something about this. Or like, best case scenario, you could actually come up with a solution as well. In moments like this, you'll probably talk past each other quite a lot because basically you will try to find a solution that fits you, whereas it actually should fit both of you, not only like one of the parties, right? Like, as obvious as it is, but like, I guess I have to say it, like, it takes two to actually make it work. Like, you literally can't make it on your own. It has to be you and the other person who actually try to make it work. Best case scenario, actually keep an aim. Like, um the aim would ideally be you two actually staying together. Like, whenever there is a hard obstacle on between you two, like, just try to keep focused on the aim of you keeping together. Like, of what is it, the thing that brings you guys together, why are you even together? And like, once it's hard, like, just keep in mind, okay, fine, now it's hard, but eventually it's gonna be good, right? Like, keep in mind that your aim is just to like stay together, cause it's actually long distance. You need to put even more effort than in a normal relationship because you're literally making up for the things that aren't there. Like, you lack the physical closeness, like the person is just not there. You have to make up with something for it. Act towards them the way you would want them to act towards you, right? So, I don't know, I don't think it's a good idea to post pictures while you're surrounded with a bunch of bikini chicks. At some point, most probably your insecurities will take over and you will get jealous, and probably your partner as well. Like, they would be jealous whether, I don't know, they would think you might possibly cheat on them, or they would see all the pictures of you on your social media and be like, heck, he is having so much fun without me and I'm not there. And it's quite normal once you just don't have the access to the person. You, like, as bad as it sounds, you just don't have the control over them and you can't monitor what they're actually doing. And it's normal to feel uncomfortable with it. Funny enough, it's actually quite easy to avoid, which is like, just give the other person the feeling that they're a priority to you. Like, basically show them, hey, like, you are the most important part of my life anyway. So whatever I do, you're still incorporated. Like, you are there and I want to be there for you. You get me? A person who loves you wouldn't find the time in between their schedule, as in like, okay, I can fit you there and there. Like a person who loves you will actually make the time for you. Obviously, it doesn't work all the time, but like in moments you need them the most, like they will or they should be able to make the time for you. And yeah, you're guessing it right. It's not always easy. It's not always easy to think of another person all the time, especially if you aren't used to it. Like for example, they weren't in your life for long enough, but just try to like put yourself in the other person's shoes, right? Like try to be empathetic about this. Try to like think, what do they feel, like what concerns them, and like most importantly, heck, if they have any concerns, take them seriously. Like once again, communication is key. Whatever shit you are going through while in a long distance relationship, and like however mad you wouldn't be at your partner, just don't break up until you guys meet. Like it basically leaves a hole in between you guys, and it leaves a lot of things unspoken. Like once you have topics that remain unspoken, and especially once you haven't talked about them in a proper way, the situation gets really nasty. I mean it. Keep in mind that messages or calls will never ever fully substitute a normal conversation where you have physical contact and all the other like attributes. Basically, like you would talk past each other once texting, like especially if you argued before. Imagine this, like you argued before, and like I don't know, a day later, you would use sarcasm, which normally she would take very well. But guess what? Because you argued the previous day about something, she would actually like take it the wrongest way possible. Good luck trying to explain your girl that her best friend, who you actually despise, isn't an annoying chatterbox that you wish she never kept in contact with. And even though it's true and you really hate her, like this whole was meant as just a joke. But she wouldn't take it as a joke, right? In a long distance relationship get boring quickly. That it can, like it's up to you to actually make it interesting. And I'm gonna list you a couple of things how to attempt on doing it. First advice ever is just treat your second half as your best friend. Like whatever you would send to your friend, like let it be memes, let it be shower thoughts, let it be, I don't know, a song. Heck, just send it to your partner or schedule a solid call. Like let's say every 2 days at 6 p.m. you would call each other and give it time, like talk about important things, talk about feelings, whatever it is. But just give each other time and like do it regularly. If you're not doing it yet, sext, because it makes the whole thing a bit spicier, and especially once you have the possibility to see each other and you can finally like exceed all the ideas you have been talking about. Like if you're into it, send nudes, and best case scenario, unexpected. I absolutely loved it, for example. So a great idea to keep up with each other is do something that you both enjoy. You gamers are actually in a clear advantage, because like what's more fun than headshotting your boyfriend, telling him he's a pussy, and then telling him something along, if you can't handle a controller, then like let alone handle a girlfriend. Okay, how to act once you actually finally meet up. That's easy, like bang through the weekend, fancy restaurants 24/7, expensive dates. Yeah, do it excessively, right? Not exactly. That's not exactly the way though. Imagine this, like you love them for how they are on a daily. Like you don't love Super John. You love the regular John. You love the John you have met and you have known so far. Not the one who's trying too hard. You love the regular John who would walk in this absolutely terrible t-shirt you always hated in the flat and like sleep in on your knees while you guys have been binge watching Sherlock Holmes till like 3 a.m. And the same guy who would wake up at 3 a.m. exactly just to do you peanut butter sandwiches, tell you he loves you, and like sleep in again. Don't try to squeeze everything in the weekend you guys are seeing each other. Like, obviously, do something fun, but don't try to like exceed the days that you're together as much as possible. It's just not natural. One of the problems is it's always gonna be one of you guys to visit the other one. Obviously, like you can meet somewhere in between, sure thing, but this is even harder. Like, try to make a normal living out of it. If you can work remotely, for example, or study or whatever, great. Like, make it a normal living as if you were living, if you were in the same city. Long distance relationships usually tear us apart. Like, you basically don't have the same friends, you don't have the same experiences, you basically live separate lives. So it's way harder to actually get the feeling of belonging together. This is basically what every single manual says, is to set a date when the whole long distance thing is gonna end, because at some point you obviously want this to end. Make a plan on who would move to home, or best case scenario, you both would actually move to a different city, so you both would be disadvantaged. Okay, how do I decide now who moves to home? This is actually quite tricky, but in my personal opinion, it's always better if like the person who has less to sacrifice while moving, like would be less disadvantaged, should move. Right, so let's say your girlfriend just moved to yours, right? You won. You basically didn't have to do shit, yet she moved for you. Mike, this is just where the problems begin. Because now you're low key responsible for her. Like, now you have to organize everything for her. Appreciate the sacrifice that she has made for you, or he has made, doesn't matter, but like just appreciate the fact what big of a move they have done for you. Most probably they just moved to a city where they don't know a single person, they don't have a steady job yet, they don't really know the city, you know what I mean. So make the effort to actually accommodate them, make the effort to make them feel welcome, to not feel worthless, because I've seen countless couples who like burned out like this. Long distance relationships are what you make out of them. Like, it takes two to make it work. If you already decided on a long distance relationship with the person and you're not completely nuts and you have actually thought it through, don't mess it up, because this person is probably worth it. Don't be childish, like don't act up, and like remember there is two of you in this boat. For all the ones who are struggling with a long distance relationship right now, I wish you all the best, and like I'm telling you, it can work. It can really work and be a fairy tale. Thanks for watching, and if you guys enjoyed the video, hit me up with a like. And if you really, really enjoyed it and are keen to actually see me more often, subscribe me. I'm definitely gonna post way more, and we'll try to like make it frequently. See ya.